Your brain is hiding something from you. Right now, as you watch this, it is quietly deciding what you get to notice and what you never will. It does this constantly, automatically, and it is completely convinced it is helping you. On June 12, 2026, it did it to Atom. The largest stock market debut in history went public that day. SpaceX. Rockets. Mars. A company worth more than $1 trillion from its very first minute of trading. And somewhere inside all that noise, one quiet fact slips straight past him. Not hidden, not secret. Free, public, and printed weeks in advance. Atom's brain decided that fact wasn't worth his attention, and never told him it had decided. Noah's brain made the exact same call. The only difference is, Noah knew it would. So he went looking for the thing his own brain was trying to bury. Atom and Noah are the same age, the same city, the same phone, the same feed, the same ordinary Tuesday. And on the morning of the listing, the very same wave of excitement pulled at both of them. Because, in fairness, what they were watching was extraordinary. Around $75 billion raised in a single day. A price of $135 a share. A company valued near $1.75 trillion, and within days passed $2 trillion. Numbers that size do something to the human mind. They do not inform it, they hypnotize it. And the story underneath them is exactly the kind a person cannot look away from. Because consider for a moment what this one company actually is. Rockets the size of office towers that fly themselves back down from the edge of space and land upright, on their own legs, ready to fly again. A web of tens of thousands of satellites, beaming internet down to deserts, to oceans, to places the old world could never reach. In a single year, this one company carried out 82% of all American launches, more than every rival on Earth, combined. It earned over $18 billion last year, most of it from that satellite network, growing by 1/3 in just 12 months. And folded inside it now sits an artificial intelligence division, its own model, its own vast machines, its own hunger. Just 4 days after going public, it swallowed a software company whole for $60 billion. One company. Rockets, satellites, the internet itself, and now the machines that think. A grip on the future so wide, it is almost hard to hold in the mind at once. Rockets, satellites, Mars, machine intelligence. This is, quite simply, the most vivid story money can buy. And that is precisely the problem. Because the brain does not weigh information by how much it matters, it weighs information by how much it moves. A rocket landing upright moves us. A $1 trillion number moves us. The word Mars moves us. But the second piece of information that day moved no one. It was a schedule. A dull, printed schedule buried in a long legal filing, written in the careful gray language that lawyers use to make certain almost no one ever reads it. And here, in plain human words, is what that schedule actually said. In the months after the listing, the people who had owned this company privately for years, the insiders, the earliest backers, would slowly be allowed to begin selling their shares. Not all at once, in waves, on specific, printed dates, laid out ahead of time, like a calendar. More and more sellers, arriving on a timetable anyone on Earth could read. It was not a secret. It was not hidden. It was published in advance, available to anyone, for free, on the very same internet where Atom was watching rockets land. There was even a detail almost cinematic in its irony. The founder himself had agreed to wait a full year before selling a single share of his own. The entire plan was right there, in writing, for anyone who cared to look. One of these two facts grabbed the brain by the collar. The other sat quietly in a file and waited. Now, This is not a flaw in Adam. It is an inheritance. For almost the whole of human history, the information that kept you alive was vivid. A sudden movement in the grass, an unfamiliar face at the edge of the fire, a change in the color of the sky. The brain that snapped its attention toward the bright, the sudden, the new. That brain lived long enough to have children. The brain that sat calmly, studying an abstract future-dated table of numbers, did not. So we inherited a filter. It waves the vivid and the now straight through. It quietly drops the dull and the later. For 100,000 years, that filter was a gift. On the morning of June 12th, it was a liability, because nothing in the modern world has agreed to play by the old rules. The dull thing is now, very often, the important thing. The contract, the clause, the schedule. And the vivid thing, the rocket, the headline, the number with its row of zeros, is very often the distraction, wearing the costume of importance. So watch what each man does with the same morning. Adam spends it inside the story. He watches the rockets rise and watches the rockets land. He reads the headlines about Mars. He imagines, for one warm and effortless hour, owning a small piece of the future. Then another hour. The schedule never once enters his mind, because nothing in his mind was ever built to flag it. It simply was not loud enough to exist. Noah feels the identical pull, the same warmth, the same wonder. But Noah has trained one small, unnatural habit. When something feels thrilling and important, he stops and asks a single, quiet question. What here is boring, and also important? And then he goes looking for it. He finds the schedule. He reads it. It takes him only a few quiet minutes. Noah does not grow rich that morning. He places no clever bet. He simply is not surprised by anything the printed dates had already told him. And here is the part the brain does not want to hear. The cost of Adam's morning is not the morning. It is the habit that the morning quietly reveals. So, let us open the ledger. On one side, what each man gave his attention to. Adam, a full week of the vivid story, every clip, every headline, every thread. On the one dull document that carried the actual decision, 0 minutes. Noah, a fraction of the hype, and a few quiet minutes with a single page that truly mattered. The asymmetry is not in their intelligence. It is not in their income. It lives entirely in their attention. Why does the gap exist? By now, you already know. One signal was loud, bright, and shaped like a story. The other was quiet, gray, and shaped like a table. The brain sent attention exactly where it has always sent it, toward the loud one. Adam did not choose to ignore the document. His ancestors chose for him, long before he was born. And here is the cruelty of it. The filter never feels like blindness. It feels like focus. Adam did not feel careless that morning. He felt informed. He felt switched on, plugged in, completely on top of the news. The filter hides itself inside the very feeling of paying attention. And now the part that should make you sit still for a moment. This was never really about SpaceX. SpaceX is only one morning. The filter does not switch off when the rockets stop flying. Every contract whose vivid summary you read and whose dull clause you skipped. Every appointment where the frightening word held you and the quiet instruction slipped away. Every decision in your life where the deciding fact was gray and the distraction was bright. Adam runs this same filter 1,000 times a year. So do I. So do you. The ledger does not close. It compounds, quietly, for the rest of your life. And then the question this series always arrives at: who profits from the filter? Because Adam's attention is not wasted. It is harvested. An entire economy is built on one dependable certainty: that the vivid will always beat the dull, that the rocket will win the eye, and the schedule will lose it, every single time. And the modern world has learned this. It has industrialized it. Every feed, every headline, every glowing thumbnail is engineered to be the rocket, never the schedule. The vivid is no longer something that simply happens to you. It is manufactured, deliberately, at enormous scale, aimed straight at the oldest reflex you own. The story is not loud by accident. It is loud because loud is what gets watched, and watched is what gets sold. The most dependable bet in the modern world is that your ancient filter will fire right on cue. So what does Noah truly have that Adam does not? Not intelligence, not willpower. One question. When something feels boring and important at the same time, that is the alarm. That is the signal to stop and to go and read the gray part. The vivid will always find you. You were built to receive it. The dull, you have to go and get. Next time, Adam will make another decision that feels completely free. No salesman, no pressure. Just him, alone, choosing. It will feel like the most independent choice he makes all year. But it will have been shaped long before he believes it even begins. And the hand that shaped it was his own brain. If this changed the way you see your own attention, subscribe. The ledger is only getting started. And if you have not yet seen what Adam's own phone quietly learned to do to him, that episode is waiting for you now.